In the Indonesian capital of Jakarta, fireman Alan Hartono and his team are busy rehearsing a firefighting drill. Somewhere along the banks of the Mekong River in South Vietnam, Tan Min Hua and her schoolmates are enacting a play that teaches students about flood safety. At the National Housing Development Authority in Colombo, architect Susanta Jayawardene is finishing an earthquake-proof house design. And in Phnom Penh, senior official Ross Sovan and his staff are discussing the draft of a new law to manage emergencies. What connects these four people across the vast sweep of the Asian continent? All four are a part of initiatives driven by one simple yet fundamental idea: that staying prepared for disaster can save both lives and livelihoods. These initiatives are all supported by a single organization that has pioneered this idea in Asia: the Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, a regional intergovernmental organization established in 1986 by British military officer Brian Ward on the recommendation of a special committee set up by 3 United Nations organizations.
Its mission was to make sure that all the countries in Asia Pacific prepare themselves to deal with the disaster of all kinds and make sure that the exchange of information and knowledge among countries are facilitated in order to build the capacity of those countries.
From its inception, ADPC has been at the forefront of promoting disaster risk reduction in the Asia-Pacific region. We work in 26 countries across the region and employ a staff of over 100 technical experts from 19 countries who apply their diverse expertise to address the specific hazards and challenges that the region faces. In keeping with its founder's vision, ADPC began operations primarily as a regional training facility under the auspices of the Asian Institute of Technology.
During those days, in Asian countries, the people who were responsible for disaster relief were one group, like the Red Cross and so on. Then there were people who were responsible for search and rescue. So you had people with diverse experience coming together, and somehow the curriculum had to be formulated so that it would cover all the needed aspects of disaster management.
Our flagship course since 1986 has been the DMC, or Disaster Management Course, which offers a comprehensive introduction to the sector. Over the years, we have also developed a number of other specialized courses, responding to the needs and demands of various stakeholders in the disaster management field. Many who learnt their first lessons in disaster management at ADPC have gone on to become prominent actors in the sector, occupying positions of influence in both national governments and international agencies working across the region.
The training really helped me open the window for the disaster management perspective. And I found that, yes, this is an opportunity to really help the people of Cambodia to upgrade the capacity, the understanding, the knowledge in order to reduce disaster.
As disaster followed disaster in the early 90s, ADPC also saw the need to move beyond training towards designing specialized programs tailor-made to specific needs of the region. Our first major program addressing urban risk issues was the Asian Urban Disaster Management Program, or the AUDMP, which ran for 10 whole years between 1995 and 2004 across 8 countries in the region. This pioneering program has been followed by several others, including the highly successful PROMISE program, which focused on water-based hazards in cities like Dagupan in the Philippines.
Dagupan is a sort of a role model. They have a team who can take the city-level disaster risk reduction activities. They have connection to the communities. Also, they have first responder team, and we have seen sustainability of the work that we have done. So no wonder they have won the national awards for one of the best prepared cities in Philippines.
Since the turn of the 21st century, climate change and adaptation strategies have risen to become one of the highest priorities of national governments worldwide. ADPC foresaw this trend in the late 90s when it initiated a region-wide program to develop climate forecast applications that could help predict extreme weather events.
The overall objective was to demonstrate some projects in generating, interpreting, communicating the climate information to grassroots level so that we can link the users as well as the people who are really generating the products.
In Bangladesh, for instance, ADPC has helped set up a grassroots flood forecasting system that can warn villagers 10 days in advance when a flood is coming. The system proved its worth during the 2007 flood, when advanced warnings helped villagers save immense damage to both lives and property. It was estimated that every household which owned livestock saved $400 while each agricultural household saved $250 as a result of the early warning. If implemented across the country, this system could enormously reduce the burden that Bangladesh bears due to flooding every year. Some of the most immediate and traumatic fallouts of any disaster are mass casualties, severe injuries, and widespread disease. Recognizing this, efforts to strengthen the management of public health in emergencies have also developed as another key area in ADPC's work. We have worked closely with several national health ministries and have acted as a key implementing agency of USAID's Programme for the Enhancement of Emergency Response, or PEER.
This PEER program caters the hospitals, improving their capacity and their preparedness to manage emergencies, and also training frontline health workers to respond to emergencies even before the external aid comes into the disaster site.
Under the PEER program, ADPC collaborates with experienced local partners like Ambulan 118 in Indonesia, a group of medical specialists who have been extensively trained in emergency response.
Hospital managers realize that their responsibility not only inside the wall of the hospital but also outside, and they are the agent of change because they own the emergency department and they own the ambulances. So if they agree, then you got a safe community.
Throughout its existence, ADPC has always believed that locally led community action is a critical element in promoting a culture of prevention. An illustration is the Flood Emergency Management Strengthening Program in An Giang Province, Vietnam, where special school flood safety programs have been organized by local education authorities to create awareness among children.
Children can play a very important role on awareness generation as well as creating a multiplier effect, because they are also part of a community when they go back home. They help their parents in a lot of preparedness and mitigation activities. So ADPC believes firmly that children are the agents of change.
Apart from sector-specific interventions, ADPC is also constantly striving to influence national governments to integrate principles of disaster risk reduction directly into their institutional development plans. Over the years, ADPC has also emerged as a key player at the regional level, promoting intergovernmental cooperation and knowledge exchange in the area of disaster risk reduction. One of the most effective mechanisms it has set up to achieve this is the Regional Consultative Committee, or RCC, which consists of the heads of national disaster management agencies from our member countries.
Regional mechanisms such as the RCC provides us a way of sharing our experiences as countries, as members, and learn lessons in terms of the challenges and the innovative ideas that has been undertaken, and also it brings more heads into looking at the region and provides us a way of being able to coordinate actions also at a regional level.
Indeed, ADPC has come a long way from its humble beginnings as a small training centre. Today, it can proudly claim to be the largest and longest-serving regional resource centre of its kind anywhere in the world devoted to disaster management.
Over 10 years ago, when there was very little on disaster management at that time, ADPC has been able to develop expertise that was not very little available elsewhere. ADPC has also been able to identify the niche of the missing elements, like the strategic frameworks at national level, and the integration of disaster risk reduction into sector has been something that ADPC has taken up at a moment where not many agencies were working on.
ADPC has a strong nexus with the NDMOs, or the National Disaster Management Offices, and this intimate knowledge of the governance structures in the region, of the decision-making processes, and the challenges associated with communities in the respective countries. That really adds value when it partners with UN agencies in furthering the Yogo framework for action.
But a 25th anniversary is an occasion not just to reflect on the past, but also to look forward.
All too often in the dramatic economic development that we've seen, it's very easy to forget the needs of vulnerable communities, to have them just ignored and no one really speaks up for them. ADPC's work with national governments helps those vulnerable people, because national governments are given information, they're given tools, they're given processes, they're shown pathways where the vulnerable people can in fact receive greater assistance, and that will lead to less vulnerability.
It is this commitment to the most vulnerable that ADPC pledges to renew today, so that we can continue to support our member countries in their efforts to protect people's lives and livelihoods.
Ultimately, we want to make sure that the people at the community level have the know-how to deal with disaster for a better and safer life for them.